mighty Mesa F-50 repair. Problem I'm having is, you see, turn the power on, I got no light, no channel lights, nothing. Sound, we get sound out of it if we turn the standby on, but it's just a hissing sound. There's no signal coming through. Reason being, we go back here, power tube heaters are lit up, and if I go over to the preamp tubes, V1 and V2 are not warm. Let me check this. And here's the it's an F-30 once again, schematic, but essentially here's the main power switch, powers the transformer, and this is not 70, this is 50, because it's not running an F-30, it's an F-50. Standby is still off, so the plates of the V1, V2 are not being powered yet. Those are not up, nor is the plates for the 6L6s, I don't believe. Anyway, bias supply, heaters. You can see we got the 12AX7, V3, V4, and that's what we have. That's where it's powered off the AC 3 volts. And then you've got the V5 and V6, which is a 6L6. That's also powered as of right now. You come down here to this rectifier, it feeds out of that to a +3 and a -3. 12AX7s, V1, V2. So your preamp tubes, heaters, are powered off of that circuit. Those are not lit. I've got +3 volts on both sides, so there's no power to the heaters. Can't make a tube work without a heater. So that being said, where are them little dudes? Right there. This set of diodes right here, and this fish bait a la capacitors right here are all part of that circuit. So right here, this is 3 capacitors, fish baits right there. I tried soldering from the top for possibly bad connection on the diodes. It worked for a bit and then quit. So looks like we're going to have to lift the board, see if we see anything that looks bad. Maybe the board's conducting to ground. Maybe we'll just shotgun replace all those parts and see what happens from there. So we got a F-30 schematic here, but we're working on an F-50. Much of the stuff is the same and verified. Couple of tip-offs to this problem is they run an AC 3 volts through V3, V4, and V5, V6. I saw a video somewhere that said that they did that because they weren't concerned about noise right there so much. But over here on the preamp tubes, they ran it through a rectifier and then ran DC because that produces less noise in the preamp staging. And the other clue I'll show you here in a second. Let me get to that page. And one of the other clues was with standby on, the channel selecting LEDs were not illuminated. So working on down to this schematic. Here's the foot switch, and the board side, there's 2 relays. These are LEDs on this schematic. They're obviously got a 15 volt power that's incorporated into that, but if you go over here and you can see that 3 volts DC and minus 3 volts DC in these two places here, especially in this case where we got 4N33R, which is this relay is running that light, and this relay is running that light. So we don't have minus 3 volts here, we have plus 3 volts. So without any differential, them relays are not going to close. And therefore my theory is that's the reason why those lights do not light up. So there's these little relays in here. I believe they're these dudes right here. Got one here, got 3 of them, one there and one there. But anyway, which one it is, I don't know. But that's my theory on the reason why the lights don't work, which sort of backs up the fact that, you know, I got the wrong voltage coming off that rectifier right here. And just a note for one of the other clues, like I said, when you kick the amp on, this pilot light does not light. So this is also connected to the 2 DC legs off that rectifier. So there's plus 3 on both sides of this light. And I think this is going to work. It's up high enough to get underneath. I'll show you that in a minute. In order to get this out, I had to clip a number of these wire ties off, which is to give me some slack. I disconnected this white wire from the power cord, this ground lug to here, down on the bottom. It's got a nut on the back, 5/16 nut on the back. Obviously all the ribbon cables had to come off. I had to desolder the 3 wires from the recording mute switch right here. I pulled out the power tube board. Once again, clipping some more wires over yonder. I can't see it because it's light. Ow, that hot. Anyway, pulled out the output jacks and the jacks for the reverb input and output. There's 2 screws, one here in the corner and one back here, and a number of standoffs underneath. Basically, I just used a screwdriver that I'd made with a 90-degree in it and used it to pry up while I gently squeezed those standoffs and then pried it up. And see if I can get a better look at those parts. Those are the diodes. And you can see from the top soldering, not the best looking joints in the world. And then we got the solder connections for the caps. And this here is off the ribbon cable. It's actually the part of that 3 volt right here on the back side. I don't know what the deal is with that, but this is the point where we'll go through the entire back of the board and look for crappy solder and reflow it if necessary. All right, the board is back down, and shotgun replaced these 4 4007 diodes, these 3 10,000 microfarad capacitors, which is, focus, those 4 and those 3. Now, I haven't been able to test, my tester ain't come yet, those components, but voltometer, they didn't check bad, so we'll see when the tester comes. I did scraped away a little bit of the cover on the trace here between these two, and I bridge soldered between it. Partially because a rookie mistake is when I was trying to fix these from the top down to try to flow the solder from the top through the board. I must have damaged some of these pads because they kind of came apart a little bit. So I'm not too sure that the traces were making good connection. They might have been the problem to begin with. And so I did that in the correct circuitry. So that's all it looks. All the solder joints on the back looked fine. No cracks, nothing missing, so we'll see how this works. Well, it's been about 2 weeks since I did the circuit board work, and as you can see, I got a pilot light and the channel switching lights, and everything seems to work and seems to be holding up. So it looks like may have just replacing those diodes, and I think the diodes and the capacitors maybe, but the diodes, I couldn't get a good reading off of any of them, maybe one, and the rest of them didn't test good at all. All the caps checked good, so it was either one or more of those diodes in the rectifier, or perhaps the trace was not making connection. But anyway, for now it looks like a win. We'll see.